and she prescribed that we go for an x-ray of the wrists and the legs. Not knowing what is wrong, or me not being aware there's something wrong, and not knowing exactly that the baby has a problem. Because you see, emotionally and psychologically, I'm not alive.
You are not connected with the
I'm
baby.
not connected with the baby. So there are things that happened that I did not note. My baby was growing. The body was, the head was growing. You could see she's a big baby. But the body, this other body is not growing. It's not changing. And she had a very small neck. The head is big, and the two hands are so slim, and the torso part is big. You can see it's big, but the neck is very slim. The hands are so slim, and the legs, and she could not stand. When you try, a 4-month baby is supposed to stand when you place her on the lap, she's supposed to press on the lap with her legs. But this baby could not. I didn't think it is a problem. I was still waiting. She will grow up. She will grow up in my thinking. And you see, because I'm sick, I'm not connecting. And so she grew up like that. So this 4th month, we have gone to the hospital, and the doctor, I remember Dr. Daisy, a pediatrician, and she told me, your daughter is sick. She has rickets. And she has to start a program, and it's tough, but she will recover because other children do. She will recover. So you have to put effort. So she prescribed drugs, and she told me I also have to make the girl go to outside and sun basking. So I used to do that every morning. You see, now she's 4 months. I started from four months. So for 8 months, I used to do that. And every 2 weeks, I would buy a drug she used to take, just 2 drops. And it was costing 8,000, that drug by then. That was in the year 2004. So 8 months down the line, up to 2005 in May. And that journey was not easy. You remember, I'm still sick. I've not realized I'm not seeing a doctor. I've not even realized I'm sick. Those around me are not seeing I'm sick. They have no problem with me. And I'm nursing a sickly child. I was sick. Now after that period, now after seeing the pediatrician, I became very much aware of the needs of the baby. I'm now minding so much about her. I must make sure she has drugs. I must make sure she eats well, but she was not eating. Whatever you prepare for her, she is not eating. She would take 2-3 teaspoons, and that is the end. And then she would take very little milk. But I'm not noting it is not normal. So we went on like that. She would take drugs and all that. And then on the 8th month, that is the same month she was delivered. That is in May 2005. Now she's almost 1 year. She became sick. We had gone for clinic for the consultancy, and then the doctor had examined. We had gone for the x-ray, and the doctor told me now she could press on the lap. And the doctor told me now she's free from rickets, she's okay, but make sure there's no relapse. You continue feeding her with the same diet. The drugs was given for only to take for 1 month, and then it will be over. She would take no more drugs, but she'll be going for frequent checkups, but to keep the same diet that the doctor prescribed. So after the clinic, she gave me an appointment for after a week. So just before that week was over, I was coming from work. I was crossing over on foot, and I happened to meet my husband on the way. So we were coming back, just around 100 meters from home. I met with the house girl and the baby, and when she uncovered the baby's eyes were like turned, and they were whitish, very
like
white, like the other one.
Yeah.
And she was breathing like the breathing was not normal, because she would breathe in, and then to breathe out was not constant the way we breathe. She would stop and then breathe out.
So difficult.
It was in breathing. So there and remember that day my husband had just taken his vehicle for overhaul, so we didn't have the vehicle. Now here we are, and financially we are having challenges financially because of the toll of the sickness. And we could not talk much. It was like our world was closed up. I was in my own world and he was in his own world. And so we decided to call a cousin to take us to hospital. Just when we were entering home, they are next neighbors, and he was just entering his compound. And so my husband called on him and told me, hey, don't get into the compound, just turn around, come, my child is sick, we need to go to hospital. And so, and there was a fellowship, it was on a Thursday, and our regional fellowship was in our place, in my brother-in-law's house. So before we came out to go to the hospital, I sent my house girl to go and call a lady friend of mine, she was my prayer partner, we used to pray with her. She came and I told her, my baby is sick, before I go, you have to pray. She told me, let's go to the fellowship so that baby can be prayed for by the pastor. I told her, no, you go with the baby, me, I won't go. You know, I'm in my own world. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to face people. I want to stay. I'm quite okay on my own. So she took the baby. She went back to the fellowship and they prayed over the baby. She brought the baby back and we went to the hospital. We went to get to the hospital, and at the emergency place, and she was admitted. She was put on oxygen at the emergency ward. So we didn't stay long because their wards and their ICU was full. So they told us we have to be transferred. So they asked me if wherever I want to be transferred. I told them to Mater Hospital. We want to Mater. And when we went to Mater, we were admitted, and she went direct to ICU because she could not breathe on her own. So, and we stayed there. She stayed in the ICU for 1 week. Then the next week she went to HDU in the same premises. And after 1 week now, we went to the ward. When we went to the ward, I did not feel like I want to. No, I preferred now being in the ward. And the doctor whom we had, a very good doctor, that was a good doctor. And I want to say that doctors and nurses are human beings. That experience made me get another perspective of them. because the doctor whom was assigned to us for my girl, he's a very prominent person in this nation and a very good doctor. When we were admitted that first time, we went through that phase. All along, he would come in the morning. I would go in the mornings to check on the baby at around 6. At around 7, the doctor is there. He would come. Sometimes we would meet when he's leaving the ICU. When I'm coming, I would meet he's there. I would let him continue his job, and then he would come and brief me. He would tell me the baby is going on well. She's doing this. We are changing this. I have prescribed this and this drug. There's this and this problem, but we are taking care. She'll be well. For those 2 weeks in the ICU and HDU, we went to the ward. And in the ward, sometimes he would come, sometimes he would not come. He would send down, the baby is recovering. So, because we stayed there for 1 week, and I went through an experience that I had not seen, because I would see my daughter, I think her lungs had blocked. She had a problem with the lungs. And I think that problem, even when she was going for clinics for the rickets, that problem had occurred. Rickets is the weakness of the bones. And when the baby has rickets, it means there is no enough calcium in the body, and she had not absorbed enough calcium. And when the bones are weak, the body becomes weak, and it is very easy. The immunity goes down. So it's very even easy to catch a cold. It's very easy to get bronchitis. So there was that blockage, and it was not going. She had pneumonia, and I think it was prolonged. The doctors, I think, didn't discover that, because she was when she was taking the drugs to cure her of the rickets, she was also taking antibiotics to get those bacteria of pneumonia out. But I think the drugs she took didn't help much. So she was left with that blockage. When she recovered from rickets, that blockage, I think that there was that space. Now she's okay. So the pneumonia has the space to react. She has no any other problem. You know, when you are having problems in the body, the hormones also are not balanced. Sometimes they are affected. And I think now when rickets was over, the pneumonia was so strong on her, so she could not recover from the pneumonia. So after the 3 weeks, after being in the ward, we were discharged on a Friday, and she was very okay. The girl was smiling, and that was the first time I saw my daughter smiling since birth. She was almost 1 year. It was 1 week to her birthday, and she was smiling. It was on a Friday, and we were discharged. And we went all home to continue with the drugs, and then to come back after 2 weeks.
For review.
Yeah. So we went back my husband came for us at around 3. He cleared the bills, and we went home. And remember, I have these other children at home. Now, we slept well at night, and the next morning we were okay. That was on a Saturday morning. The day was not bad, but the baby was not sleeping. She would sleep like 10 minutes, and then she would wake up. She wants to breastfeed. She's not conversing. She's trying to vomit, but nothing is coming out, and the eyes have turned the other way. So very quickly, my mom called for a taxi, and I had to go out. I didn't know. Now, this time round, I'm confused. Now this thing has happened again. I don't know what. So I took my baby and the shawl. I tried to put on slippers. I got one slipper. I took away with it. So I put on a t-shirt
Sikuchekelea.
inside out. So
It calls for that.
yeah,
Sometimes
so I
it
went
calls for that.
as we were living upstairs. So I went downstairs. By the time I reached downstairs, the taxi was coming. So I got in the taxi. I didn't tell anybody anything. I didn't wait for anybody. I went. So when they came down to look for me, I had already gone. So we went back to Mata on an emergency through the emergency door, and the baby was taken. So they went into the emergency room. No, those doors are glass doors. Now I'm outside, and I'm trying to check from there's a thin line that is clear here down, and I'm trying to look through it. So I could see the baby on the table from was a table there, a long one. They had kept the baby on that table, and the baby's head was facing down. And I saw there are things that I've seen them on TV when doctors used to resuscitate. So I saw the doctor having those two things. That was a breaking point for me. I really cried. I cried. So when I was crying there, my sisters came. They arrived. So they came to comfort me, tell me to be well. We waited almost 2 hours. We went to check again. I told them what I have seen, what. I asked God, why my child? Why? Why me? So my sisters talked to me, and I finished crying. We waited. It was like we stayed there, I think, for 4 hours because they were to wait for the baby. You know, they have resuscitated the baby. So they had to keep her there for some time to watch. So after 4 hours, we were taken to the ICU, which was okay. And that night, I really felt like everything is over now. It is over for me. It is over for the baby. I felt that. And so I told myself, I will not remain in the hospital. I will not be in the hospital again. This time I'm not be sleeping in the hospital. I'll be going home, coming back in the morning. So I told my husband, I don't feel like staying in the hospital. Let me be going home. I'll make sure I'll be by 6 I'll be here. So for that 1 week, I used to go to the hospital very early in the morning. By 6 I was on the door. And by 7:38, the doctor would come, he would check the baby. I think throughout that time, the baby got a cardiac arrest, I think 3 times when there. And that last day before she passed on, as I was meditating upon the journey with this child, there in the grounds, I had gone out to rest on a shade, and by myself I was thinking, my baby has suffered so long. I've come too far with this girl. She has suffered so much. Now she's taking a lot of medications. She's not able even to tell how she feels. And as a mother, I felt like, oh, it is too much. And then also another thing came into my mind. What if God wants to take her and I'm bargaining with God? I want to keep this child. Why don't I change my prayer? Let me tell God, let your will be done. Because now it's 1 month. All we have is being in the hospital. All we are thinking is how much we'll pay, how much is needed, will happen. And now it's a full month. And I came into my senses and said, oh, why don't I let God be? And before I went back into the ICU that time, it was around, I think it was at around 2. And so I stayed there, I basked in the sun. I waited for my husband to come at lunch hour. He had not come. And at around 4 o'clock, when the visitors hour came, I was to go back to the room, to the ICU. But before I went, when I was about to get into the stairs, I felt in my spirit, I want to make a prayer. And I told God, God, you gave me this child. I have no power to keep this baby alive or even to take away her life. You are the author and you are the finisher of our salvation. You started this life. You handed over this life into my hands. I have done all that I can. Beyond what I have done, it is your will. Now I want you to do your will, according to your will. I don't want to bargain with you again. I don't want to look like it's me and me alone. I'm thinking about myself. Because before then, when we went back to the ICU that week, the next day when I came back, as I waited for the hour when the doctors are out, that ICU was just next to the heart clinic. And I could see people coming in and going out. And that time I told myself, oh God, I wish my daughter was alive. Even if she will not be walking, even if in whatever condition she will be, I would rather be coming for clinic. But don't let my daughter die. That is the prayer I made. I want her to live under whatever condition, but let her live. I'll bear the rest. Whether it should be incapacitated, I just want her to live. You see, this is a desperate situation. I'm praying because I'm desperate. As a mother, I feel for my baby. I love my baby. I want my baby with me. Now I'm making a desperate prayer, not even putting into consideration what somebody who has that baby or a family member who has been bedridden or who has been incapacitated. They have to go for clinic. It is not easy. Even they drain them. Those situations drain people, even financially, psychologically. These people sometimes become drained. But I'm here praying for that situation over my life because I love this baby. I want this baby. It is just about me. I'm not putting it what the baby is going through. It's just about me. I love this baby. And that is the love of a mother. Sometimes we love so selfishly. Because I'm not considering the baby. I'm not seeing this a trauma. I'm just saying I want to be with the baby. I gave birth to a baby. I have to bring up this baby. But in the wisdom of God, that was not what God wanted. I'm here for a lesson and I'm crying for my own self, not the patient, not even the other person, not even the sister or the brother or even the father. I'm crying for my own good. But that was not what was to be, because that day when I came back from the grounds and I was going to the ICU, on the stairs, on the first step, I prayed this prayer that God, just let your will be done. I'm fed up. I will not bargain with you again. No, I felt there is a departure between me and God. So I'll have to let God be first so that everything will align up. So I told God, God, just have your way. Have your way, God. Because you gave me this girl as a gift. I cannot demand. I'm not putting a demand. I want to give this baby back into your hands, that you will do your will upon her life. That was my prayer. And that was at around 4:30. And I went back to the ICU. I went and checked on the baby. She was her breathing was not so good. I could by then I could read the machines the way they were. And so many times when I entered the ICU, after some time the machine would ring the bell, and the nurses and the doctors would come rushing. They would tell me, move out fast, and they would pull the curtains. Little did I know that her heart is failing several times. I think around 3 times that happened. And after those incidences, I was, I was still having that hope she will recover. I would even ask the doctor, Daktari, what will happen now? And the doctor would tell me, God has given us up to a certain limit. We do what we know, what to do best, what we have learned. But about life and death, it's about God. Let us leave everything to God, and it shall be okay. Just keep your faith and hope. So I would live that way. So every day I would go there with hope and with faith. But here I have come to an understanding that, hey, this has gone on so long. I've reached a place where I have seen, like, I'm trying to bargain with God. God is saying this and I'm saying the other. So why don't I let God be? And I have prayed a prayer. Let God be. Let your will be done. Because this is your life. This is your gift. Let God's will be done. So when I prayed that prayer and went up, I found the baby, she was not so good. The doctors cannot tell you that right away. But they also have feelings. Because like I can remember the day that we came with that emergency on that Saturday at 5 o'clock, when the doctor came, Dr. Eseli Simiu was my daughter's doctor. And when he came, when he went into the ICU and saw the baby and came out, the doctor had really cried. I could see in his eyes. He could not even speak to me because I had arrived in the hospital at 6. And he came at that early because he did not, I don't know whether he came at night because I left. I don't know whether he came, but that morning when we met, he found me on the seat, he greeted me and went in. Coming out of the ICU, when I'm seated on the forms outside, the doctor had cried. And I know from his reaction, he was wondering, what is he going to tell me? Where the words, he was trying to look for the words to tell me. So he passed me and went a distance of about 30 meters and stood there, gazing outside. Then after about 10 minutes, he came closer to me and he greeted me. He said, hello, ma'am. Hello. I've come. I've checked on baby Melody and I've talked to other doctors. I'm waiting for other specialists to come because Melody has developed some organ complications. She has some kidney, and she has some problem in the brain. So I'm calling in other specialists that will come and join me so that we can know the way forward.
Okay. Continue. So,
Oh, here the doctor tells me he's waiting for some consultants to come and join him to know the way forward.
yeah.
So we agreed that. And he told me he has prescribed some drugs in the meantime. So we wait for the other consultants and he went. So I was left there. And I used to come very early because we used to get on a public transport at around 5. So by 6, I used to be in Mata Hospital. And then at around 9, my brother would bring me tea. And we would sit outside in the grounds and chat. Sometimes we would just gaze at each other. I would not have words to say. My brother would try some conversations, and then my mind is drifting away. So we would just sit there. Sometimes I would get some newspaper to read. And by then, that one day before this day that I'm praying that God will take control, a day before, it was a day that there was a dog that had collected a baby in a paper bag, baby angel.
I remember. It was
And
all over in the media.
yeah, I was in Mata Hospital. I was seated on a shade in the grounds. And a family had brought there was a lady who had who had come with the son. They had brought a newspaper to the husband. And so he was sit on that table that we were, or there where we were seated on the seats. They were seated in my opposite direction, and the man was holding the newspaper like this. So I could read the front pages, the back and the front page from the other side. And there the picture of baby angel, the story of baby angel. And that baby looked exactly like my daughter. So here is the picture and the story, and I'm reading. After I had finished reading, my brother was next to me. I started crying. And I asked God, people are killing their children. Others are throwing their children away. And here I am fighting for the life of my baby. Oh my God, just save my baby. That is the prayer I prayed. So we went back to the ICU, and that day was over like that. Remember, I had cried that day, and the previous day, then we had celebrated her first birthday when she was in ICU, and it was like I'm not aware of what is happening. So then a day after, here I am telling God, oh God, I think I've gone too far now. Then things are not changing. I'm not changing anything. I've done only what I've been able to do. That is my strength. Now take over. That prayer I prayed. And then after I went to the ICU at that hour, on the baby's breathing, it was not so good. And remember, she had almost bruises all over the hands, the feet. She had pipes passing through the head, in the mouth, in the nose. And she had bandages almost everywhere on the head. And she's swollen. Her head was swollen. Her hands were swollen. And her breathing was not okay. Her breathing was just like the first time she fell ill. She would breathe in, pause, and then breathe out. And I noticed that breathing was not okay. And when I looked at her for about 10 minutes, I was around her, and then I decided to go out. So when I went out after around 2 hours, at 6 o'clock, the father came. And then at around 6:30, my brother came. So we went inside with them. They looked at the baby, and my husband went and talked to the doctor. I don't know what they talked. He didn't tell me anything. And so then after that hour, at around 7, my brother left. And as we just stayed outside there, we wanted to wait for the doctor to come and tell us what he was thinking or what
they had
the
decided.
next. Yeah. So we waited until 8. The doctor didn't come. So we had to leave. And And my mother was there too. She had come. So we left with my mother. My mother came a bit late. I think at around 7:30. That is when she came. We didn't take long, and then we left together. When we reached town, we had to escort her to make sure she has taken her bus. And then we went to the bus station. That time, our matatu from our areas used to be at bus station at KBS. So we went there and got the last matatu. We boarded that last matatu. And the matatu drove off. But just before we came to the roadblock that was always there at Muthaiga, just after the roundabout, the nurse called my number, and I took the phone, and she told me, "Hello, Mama Melody, is that you? Yeah. Now the doctor has just come in. Remember, it's almost 1 hour ago. The doctor has just come in and he's asking that you come back. It's this hour, eh?" And I told her, we are on our way home. We are very far. We are on Kiambu Road. Yeah, the doctor insists that you must come. And deep down in me, I got convinced Melody's journey is over. And I said in my mind, God, you have done your will. So when I turned to the father and told him, the doctor is asking that we go back to the hospital. He asked me why. I don't know, but the nurse is saying, the doctor says we must go back. And he shook his head, and I noticed he has changed. And I told him, let's go, but whatever has happened, just be contented. The will of God has taken place. Whatever has happened, whatever it is, just know the will of God, and God is in control. So I told the tout, okay, when you reach the roadblock, there where the police are, just drop us there. You know, those days there used to be hijackings, and people were fearing. So in order so that I will not make these people suspicious in the vehicle, I told the makanga, when you drop us just next to the roadblock. So we dropped out of the matatu there, and I called my sister there. I told them to come and take us back to the hospital. So we went back with my sister and her husband. And when we went to the ICU, when the nurse saw me and she brought out chairs, we sit there. And then my husband and my brother-in-law were talking to the doctor in charge of the ICU. And when we were eating, they finished. I woke up. I said, why they kept keeping me? I know everything, it is over. Why are they keeping me?
Because
So
now they have put the chairs for you.
Yeah, we sit down. And the doctor is standing there and with my husband and my brother-in-law. I don't know what they are conversing about. They are not including us. So I'm the mother. What are they saying? I just want to see my baby. So I just woke up and went and I withdrew the curtains, and my sister came after me. So I went and found the pipes were disconnected, and they had prepared for her to take her to the morgue. And I discovered that was what had happened, because in my heart I had perceived. I remembered during the day when I perceived that I'm in a battle with God. There is something that God wants to do. God wants to rest this baby, but I'm holding on to this baby. And it is like that hour of bargaining with God. You hold somebody at ransom. They are going through pain. They are going through a very hard time. You are also going through a very rough time because you don't go to work. Your mind is not at rest because you are counting days. you are counting on the bills, the bill is still rising, and you are in between there. You are pressed, or you are on a hard rock. You are suffering on this side and the other person is suffering, the patient is suffering. And the best thing I would have done is to tell God from the instant, just take over. Because you knew this baby before it was born. And you knew the end. Where I'm coming in, I've just taken up my part. I have done my part. Even the rest, it is you who will do it. But in our struggle as human beings, we are struggling. I'm a mother. I have that love. I have that part of the child, the pain of a mother. But I have kept God aside. And here God comes, and the Spirit of God reminds me, you know what? You know you are bargaining, you and God. It is a time that you let God be. Let God do his will. Whether it is resting this child or whether it is healing this child, because God can do a miracle. And that is when I decided, okay, I'm bargaining with God. Oh no, I told God, no, this is the end of the battle. I will not fight again. And I give you that baby to do your will. And that was the will of God. So the baby passed. So when I reached the bed, I just said a prayer. My sister came running after me. She thought I'm going to break down there. But salvation, being saved and being not saved are two very different things. Though painful, with the Spirit of God, you get your strength. I was strong. Although I cried, I did not break up. I cried after. But I said a prayer. I thanked God. I told God, thank you, Lord, that you gave me a baby girl to hold for 1 year, to serve this and to nurse her for just 1 year. You knew her days. I want to thank you. Because in the book of remembrance, there is a name. I mothered a baby girl called Melody. It is not like I did not have one. You had given me a baby girl, but you have taken her away from me. I just want to bless your name. And I said, fare thee well, Melody. That was it. And then I cried. I cried all my tears there. And I went back on the seat. And another new person. The pain in my heart, I felt the pain in my heart being lifted. And I became contented with what God had done. In fact, I remember that and I see the starting point of my healing from that moment. Though I came back to mourn, that is when the healing steps started. So we went through the burial ceremony and all that. We buried her after a week. And after that 1 week, I went back to the office. And the stories my colleagues told me, that is when I realized I was very sick. Mentally, I was sick. I think it's only the grace of God. I did not break down into depression. It didn't become a full-blown depression. That was God. Because the problem was seen by others, although they did not talk about it. They did not even tell me. They did not suggest not suggest like I'm sick, or they did not show me like there is something wrong with me. Everything went on like it is normal. They did not tell me something is wrong with me. They did not recommend anything or even ask for my help from my family. They did not inform my family that things I'm not okay. Nobody talked about it. And this is whereby I come to an understanding that we may be having people who are sick mentally in our families, at our places of work, wherever we are, even in our fellowships, where we fellowship in church. We could be having brethren, we could be having sisters or brothers, we could be having cousins or aunties or uncles. They are mentally sick, but we don't realize they are sick. We don't see they are sick. We don't take steps. We don't inform ourselves.
You don't give them the feedback that we see things are
We see
changing.
things are changing. Nobody pays attention to what is happening to another's life. Because if I had changed, my colleagues told me that they realized we used to go to lunch our fellowship at 680 Hotel, hosted by Reverend Judy Mbogwa. We used to go and pray. Remember, this is an office. But instead of sitting in the office, we used to go for fellowships there. So it came a time during this period that I'm sick. During this pregnancy, this period, I started segregating myself like that. I segregated myself even from fellowships. I could not go. That is the time I want to sleep in the office. And I would sleep on the desk. And when they called me to go for fellowship, I would tell them, leo sijisikia, hebu wacha nilale, hata sijalala, wacha nilale. Let me sleep. I have not slept well. So let me sleep. So they came to a time, they told me, we came to realize that something is not, it is not okay with you. It is not like you do sleep at home. So we decided, instead of telling you we go for fellowship, we will go for fellowship ourselves, but we'll be praying for you. So there were some people somewhere praying for me. That was so good.
There was, but
I didn't know.
I want to say something about. Sorry for interrupting you, but I think this is a time that it is important for that feedback to be given to the person. It is good to pray. Let us all support one another in prayer. But when we realize there is something that is not right, this person has changed from the person we know. Let us give feedback, and of course sensitively. And if there's somebody we can talk to, like a family member, so that we are able to seek for help, because we have realized there's something. I always say sometimes some issues and some sicknesses progress to our state because somebody did not voice out and did not bring help when it is required. So I think that is a point that we here seated would say, when we realize that there's a change with our friend, let us talk about it. Let us seek help for them. Because for now, probably you'll tell this one at the end of it, how now you came out of that, and you're keeping on saying you're sick. But other people that are surrounding us, it is an opportunity for them to be able to help us. Because that time they would have referred you to the hospital. You've lost a child. You've been in this pregnancy that has been difficult. You have cases in court. That is too much. It is overwhelming. And for the support, we need to know, what are we going to look at as red flags that we need to see and say, this person, the state that they're in, it is not a good position. We need to help them. So probably before we come to how you realized how now you need help, that you are sick, and how you probably started your journey of healing. Probably after you have now 3 live babies. 2 boys.
This is the fourth one,
A girl. And this other girl
This
now
other
has died. You have buried the baby. You're back home. You're back to the office, as you've said. Did you ever think about getting another baby?
First, no.
Okay.
I was not ready for another baby. And being in that state of I'm emotionally not stable, I was not even about thinking about either getting another baby or about the family. I was mourning. I was in a state of mourning. Because I remember I used to come from work, get into the bedroom. It was my routine. I used to go home. After I arrived, I go into my bedroom and pray first. Before I do anything else, I go and pray. I thank God for the day. I thank God for taking me to work and back and the activities of the day. I want to pray that hour. So instead of praying that I used to do before that pregnancy and the passing of the baby, I went into the bedroom to mourn. I used to take out all the clothes and put all the clothes I had bought and put them on the bed. I used to look at them one by one. I'm kneeling down beside my bed and I'm telling God, God, am I saved? Am I born again? Surely, because we usually, it's like we are being human and we tell ourselves, it's like before anything bad happens to me, God must have told me, or God must tell me whatever is going to happen. It's like it's an insinuation, because there are some things that God cannot reveal to you. What God reveals to you is yours, and what is hidden, it belongs to God. You know, God cannot tell you, I'm going to kill your daughter. No, it is not. It is not possible. So he may speak in other ways, but he may not speak. He cannot tell you directly, I'm going to kill your baby. No, it is not possible. So in the process of this getting pregnant with this baby, the baby turning sick and departing, I'm not in a position to think about the planning of family or whatever I'm planning for the family. Now that I have buried, I'm back to mourning alone in the house. I come and mourn in the house. I cry myself out. I ask God, God, you knew it will happen and you could not tell me. Am I not born again? Did I backslide? I could ask God questions for a very long time, like about 2 months. And then one day, when I came back, I tried to cry, no tears. I tried to cry, I could not cry. And then I asked God, God, am I really saved? Surely, I have gone all through these things and you knew I would go through them even before I came here. And you still let me come here to go through these issues. And then God, that moment, had to talk to me in a voice. And it's like somebody was whispering behind me or on my ear. The word of God says, my word says, all things, bad and good, all things happen for good to those that love the God. To those who love me, all things happen for good to those who love me. But you read and you don't take heed of those words. You read my word and you don't go deep into it. That is my word. That bad that has happened, it has happened for your good. That was the end of my mourning. I closed that chapter of mourning. I did not mourn again from that day on. And I told God, whatever happened. In the history books, I know I had a baby called Melody. Even if I'm to die today, in my, you call it... eulogy.
Yeah.
They will write, she was mother to so-and-so and late so-and-so. So I have not lost. I may not be with her physically, but I have not lost. I was a mother to her, and may she rest in peace. I'm great because from that time on, that is when my healing started. Though not completely.
Of course.
My healing started then. So then 1 year after, then I conceived. Unknowingly, just like that, just like many others, unknowingly, I went to the hospital. Now I want to take pills. I want to go back to pills so that I don't. But all this time round, I'm not taking. From the time I conceived that baby, I had not taken any pill. 1 year after, and now about 1 year and 3 months, I had not taken any contraceptive. So I realized now I've started healing. I'm realizing, hey, I might get pregnant again, and I don't want. I've not planned. let me go for pills. So I will go to the hospital. When the nurse takes my blood pressure, hey, she wonders, surely you have come for, had you given birth recently? No. Had you gone through a trauma, some kind of a trauma? I told her, oh yes, what? I lost a baby just the other day, 3 months ago, and it was a journey since birth. It was a journey, and she gave up the fight, and yeah, I am. I've not taken for that 1 year and some months. I've not taken pills. Now I've decided to come. Okay, it is okay. Akaandika ka note. She writes a note and gives me and tells me, go and see doctor at number 19. So I went to the doctor. When I entered the doctor's room, and the doctor looked, he was that old man doctor at Kiambu. I don't know his name. And he used to look at people from spectacle like this, and he used to look at you like this. And he looked at me. When he read the note, he looked at me and looked down and looked at me again. And he asked me, whom have you come with? I told him, alone. Alone? Oh, okay. He gets down and writes down, takes a prescription form and writes down something. And on the note, he inscribed something and he gives it back to me. I take them and I go to casualty. So I give it the notes to the sister. The sister tells me, go and sit down there. My blood pressure was very high. And so the doctor had said I be given an injection and a pill that you put under the tongue. So when the sister looked at me like this, I think I wouldn't say slim. You know, being slim and being thin, they are two different things. When somebody has become thin, it's maybe through a process of sickness. And that is how I was. I was very thin. And maybe she looked at me, that is what I thought. She looked at me and said, huyu, na kanaonekana akana weight. Hapana. This one, she's underweight. I will not give these drugs to her. And so she decided to give me the pill, which I put under the tongue, and the injection, she didn't inject me. She told me to go and sleep there on the bed at the casualty room. So I slept there. And I slept there that was at around 12 until 5. My blood pressure was still high. It was not being controlled. So after they would come and check on me after every 2 hours. After 2 hours, after that drug was over, after 2 hours they came, it was still high. And they gave me another 2 hours. It was high. So I called my husband at 5 to come and take me because I was remaining with another 2 hours. I left the hospital at 9 after an injection. So that is when I started having complications with blood pressure. And that was over. So I was taking pills, but not constant. You see, I'm halfway healed. I'm not being constant. I've lost interest with things. So I could not take them constantly. So at the end of the next, I think, 4-5 months, and then I discovered I'm pregnant. And the journey starts.
So the contraceptives you are not given?
No, I was not given.
Okay.
Because they wanted I control the blood pressure first.
Okay, they manage it.
Yeah. So I was not taking anything there. So after that 1 year was over and some months, it is I think 1 year and 2 months. Yeah, I conceived. And I got another baby girl. Though now that the process of healing had started, I had started going to church. And there was that was the time we wanted to build a hall, the youth hall, the sanctuary in our church. And we had been told by Bishop, if you have something that you are trusting God for, you come with a seed and call it the name of what you want. So I had taken an envelope, put my seed, and I had called it a baby girl, Hope. I called it Hope. And that is what I gave as Hope. So 1 year later, and 3 months, and I conceived and had a baby girl.
Hope came.
Hope came. And I went for clinic. In fact, I told, in fact, like my sister-in-law, I called my sister-in-law when I had already delivered. And she asked me, Ati, where are you? I'm in the hospital. Doing what? I have delivered a baby girl. And she asked me, are you sick?
She couldn't believe.
She couldn't believe,
yeah.
because I was not big. And the same mother's dresses I was wearing for the late Melody, they were the ones I was using. So people didn't see the pregnancy. I think it was hidden. It didn't protrude so much. And so she was wondering, and I told her I'm in the hospital. So the baby girl came, and I walked a journey that was not bad. It was, although it was hard, I'm going through healing. This is the time I'm starting to realize, hey, I'm in the world. There are people around me. It was like I was locked. My mind was locked somewhere separate. I was not being keen on the things around me or things that are happening. We would talk, and that where we ended our conversation, that is the end of that conversation. I would never remember that conversation again. So I can see that part of healing now coming. I'm starting to realize, and we have talked with Sister Jane, and she told me ABCD. I could not do it
so
before.
Your memory
Now my memory
back.
is coming back. I'm realizing I'm present. I'm now living. So I took care of myself. I went for clinic. I went to Kenyatta. After that period of going to Mater Hospital and the passing through that trauma of losing the baby and all that, and I felt, let me now go and try to go to Kenyatta. I see if I can go the process. Because I could ask myself then, when my baby was diagnosed with rickets, I went for clinic, although very late. I went for prenatal clinic with the baby. And even the doctors could not see. My baby was very beautiful. She had your color, and also the other two are like that. But during this sickness, that brightness had turned a little bit yellowish. You could see she's bright, she's light-skinned, but this light skin has some other queer color. It's turning yellowish.
It is not normal.
And it is not normal. And I used to ask myself, this time I'm asking God, you didn't even let the sisters or the nurses or the doctors even see my baby has a problem. Why? Why would my baby turn yellowish and nobody notices? I don't even notice. I'm seeing a beautiful girl. I'm not seeing there is a problem. Because during this sickness, the issues of blood, building blood in the body and all that, and everything about blood, the calcium and all that. The calcium is used very much in the making of blood in the body. So that process has been distracted. So she is not having a lot of blood in her. She's not making enough blood. And all these other problems. And I was wondering, why wouldn't even the nurses notice this? I used to go for clinic. They are checking the baby. They could not notice this. So by the time I'm conceiving this 5th child, I want to try some other people. I want to get whether somebody else can be keen, so that I don't become...
You're telling yourself they were not keen.
Yeah,
but probably they did their best.
Yeah, probably they did their best. And so I'm convinced, let me try some other people. I see how it will turn out. So I went to Kenyatta, and that is where I attended my antenatal and prenatal clinics. Before I then came transferred, because it is far, I came to Kiambu for the child welfare clinic here in Kiambu later in the year. But the journey was not bad, although, also age. Okay. You see,
35?
35 years had passed.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm 37.
Oh, okay. And you said your
And
deadline is 35.
And I had told myself deadline is 35.
Yes.
Now the one I got at 35 was mine, not mine and God. Because that was not God.
Okay.
That was not mine and God. It was mine. So God gave me his child at 37.
Okay.
Besides the doctor's teachings,
Okay.
he gave me that baby at 37. Even at 50, even I've seen one at 60.
People get babies.
That is in the USA. I saw somebody testifying she got at 67. And well, God can do it. He did it for Sarah.
Yeah.
So that was my gauge. This was not God's gauge.
35.
Yeah, 35. So at 37, I've lost a baby at 35 years. Now at 37, I'm getting another baby girl. And she's alive, she's well. And here I want to go to some other place. I want to get the experience of another clinic, of another hospital. I went to Kenyatta. And you see, also age has gone. So I don't have the zeal of things as I was at 35. So that time I was going for clinics. By 7 o'clock I was in the premises, and the doctors, we were learning every morning. Before you go for checkup, you learn, you go for exercises, and then you go home. And after checking. And so at the end of the clinic, as I neared the EDD, I talked to one of the doctors. Mostly, I found myself seeing the same doctor most of the times when I was going. And so I was convinced maybe he's a good doctor for me. I can book a private doctor. So I booked him. He's a gynecologist called Dr. Kirago. So I booked him. I told him, I'll book you for my delivery. I'll deliver here in Kenyatta in the private wing, and I'll book you for my doctor. So I booked. So we could go in sessions, those general sessions. He was there. If I don't see him that day, after the sessions, I would go and see him, and he will read through the notes of the other doctor and see I'm progressing well, it is okay. So I went through that clinic and I went for delivery. That's the doctor I was telling you. When I went for delivery, he was not in because it was even a shock for me. I had no signs. And a day before I went for delivery, it had rained in Nairobi. I was in the office. It had rained so much, and there were no vehicles. So I had to go on foot. I had to walk from GPO to Ngara, and it is raining heavily. And that was in August, on 6th August 2007. No, 2006. So here I am. It has rained. My umbrella has broken down because of the heavy rains. I've been rained on. I'm feeling too cold until the body becomes numb. My husband was on the other side of town in the Eastlands region. That is where he was working, and he had already left for formal employment. He was doing business, so he was on Jogoo Road, and there was jam because it has rained. The roads are unpassable, so he had just switched off the engine and waited for the waters to subside. So I would call him and he would tell me, hey, the vehicle has even not terminated services today. You are not going home. Just hold on. Wait for me there until I come. So I was in a hotel in Ngara waiting, that area of Grunanak. I was waiting for him there. And he came at 1 a.m. At night. That is when he came for me. We were so many of us because the matatus had not come back for people because of the rain. People were to look for their own means, or the rains to stop, and then we'll maybe have those who would feel, let us go and check for those people who are stranded. But my husband came, and he had other passengers he was helping, and so we went back home. We came all the way from Nairobi up to the post office. We dropped some people who were going upwards to Dumberi, and then we went back home. So I didn't even eat. I went and bathed. I went to sleep. The whole body was aching. And the next day, it was on a Friday. The next day was on a Saturday. And we had a ceremony that was being held at our place. Our in-laws, some of our in-laws had a daughter who was coming for dowry. And I didn't go. I just slept. The whole of my body was aching. So I stayed like that. I didn't, I think I had a house girl. She cooked. I ate and slept the whole day. In the evening, the same. I woke up, ate, and went back to bed. But the next day on Sunday, now I slept very well on Sunday. My husband came home, and he used to work with a taxi. So that day he didn't go for work because of the ceremony. They had the ceremony, so he went for a few hours and with friends, and then he came back. So by the time it is 6 in the morning, my body is waking, and I'm not feeling like I can wake up. So when I tried to wake up at 7 and go out, move out, I felt, something is not normal. So the waters broke, and I didn't feel like, the days are, I was remaining, I think I had 2 weeks to go. So now 2 weeks before, I think because of that experience being rained on, now the body has gotten something else. It has read another version. So the pains are not there, but the waters are broken. I wanted to go out of the bed, and I told my husband, hey, wake up, enda ukatafute gari. So gari yake haikuwa sawa. His vehicle was in the garage, and so he had to look for a vehicle. So he went and called a neighbor, and went and told my co-wives, Airu, to come. So here I am. We went all the way to Kenyatta. I was admitted. And the doctor was not near when we called him. My private doctor. It is Sunday.
Yes.
Maybe he traveled on that Saturday to go to up country. And he told me I'm coming. After about an hour, the other doctor comes. That is on Sunday morning. The other doctor comes. He says he has been sent by Dr. Kirago to check on me before he arrives, because he's far. And he checks on me and says, you're still far off, but we'll still wait. So he checks on me and goes out, writes the report and leaves with the nurse, and he goes. So I will labor from that time on until Monday morning. I'm still in pain. And Dr. Kirago comes. The nurses could come and check on me. They could send the resident doctor. Then he would come when passing around. He would check on me and say, she's not opening up. So they will go and wait. Maybe their assumption was I'm still to open, or I don't know. They have their own gauge. But I was in pain. Very, 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 very pain. And it is like I was losing my head. I could feel the pain in my head. And I could tell the sister, hey sister, si woye munipeleke theater. Si munipeleke tu theater, haki hiyo uchungu imezidi. Nipelekeni tu theater. Just take me to the theater. It's so painful. I'm feeling a lot of pain. Take me to the theater. So they would tell me, we are waiting for the doctor. The doctor is on the way. So at around 11 o'clock, the doctor came. he wants to make sure what is written on the papers is okay. So he checks on me, but before he checks on me, hey, daktari, pana nipeleke theater. Let's go to the theater. Now I'm ready. More than ever, I'm ready. Hata sitaki niambiwa ati ni sign. I'm ready. Whatever will happen, I'm ready. Twende theater. So he took me to theater, and by the grace of God, I gave birth to my baby girl. She was also 1.9. She was 1960. Very, very small. And we came out of theater, and I was taken to the private room. My husband, I think my husband was there. When I was being taken to the theater, he came to the theater, and later that is what he told me. When he looked at what was being done, he started crying, and they had to tell him to go out. So, and I went through that process. I was okay. I came out well, and I recovered. And they put you in a room just next to the theater for observation. After some time, when I became conscious, they took me to the ward, and together with my baby. And in the ward, the next day, I breastfed my baby. She was so small. I could see the sister holding my baby with one hand, and I would say, Kai, this one wants to kill my baby. You know, they are used. The baby is small, and she's holding with one hand. They used to, my heart would race.
Yeah, having lost the
other one. And I would say, Kai, kwani wewe unataka kuniulia mtoto? And I would say, maybe that is the way they work. But it was okay. It is okay. They are used to that. Unless something else happens or by accident, they are very okay. They are mothers. And we came out from the ward, and I went home. And they did not hold me, though the baby was not yet two. Most of the times they could hold mothers when your baby is underweight, especially when the baby has not reached 2 kgs, you are held in the wards so that the baby can be washed and nurtured to up to 2 kgs, and then you go home with a strong baby. But my baby was healthy. She could cry. The cry was normal. Everything was normal. And she was very hungry. On birth, she was very hungry. She was sucking the fingers. So they told me, 40 mebaki, you'll pick from home, breastfeed. But those 5 days I stayed there, I think the baby picked up, because I think we left when she was 22. Yeah. So we came back home, not because of the baby, but they were holding me because of the cesarean. Yeah. They wanted to watch, and then I go home well. 5 days there, and then we went back home. And that was it. And the baby is okay. I've never seen anything as what I had seen before. I brought the baby up well. She's okay. She gained weight okay. She had no complications. Yeah, but though there are those marks of the latter experience of melody. There are those marks. Kuna zile sign ziko tu za kukuonyesha something had happened. And I was wondering, when you called me, I felt that is good, because I want to pour my heart out. I want somebody to learn from me. When they are pregnant, or through the experiences they have gone through, and see where maybe that problem could have come from. Because I went back, I flashed back the experiences that I have passed through those deliveries. And besides all those experiences, I also had problems. I realized I had problems. It may not be the doctor. It may not be even the nurse. It may not be the child. But me, myself, I had the problems. Especially the issue of melody. I was the problem.
Not by choice.
Not by choice.
I hate to say this.
Yes.
It's not by choice.
Not by choice. Yeah. Not by choice. But the problem was in me. I found myself there. when I stressed myself out with these other issues, the domestic issues, relationships, maybe at work, and I went down with stress. That is where the problem came in. If I had not concentrated so much on the negatives and went into depression, Melody would not have been sick, because that is where all the problems came in. If I had taken care of those problems the way they would have taken care of, we would not have reached to that point. I would not have complications, maybe even of giving birth, because I gave birth well in the first 3 pregnancies. I gave them normal birth pregnancies. I gave them normal births. But the 2 last pregnancies, I went through cesarean, which is it is okay because maybe you have no other choice. But if you can give birth normally, it is good to give birth normal. It is God-given. Something God-given has no complications, unless there is something that is not adding up. But when you give birth normal, everything goes back to normal, because it is something God-given. God intended it so to be so. But when there are other complications, like physically or in the emotionally, psychologically, sometimes you are forced to go for cesarean. But cesarean also has its own disadvantages, because now I have had 2, and I feel since then I've had complications with the back. I developed problems with my backbone. So my spine has problems. I can't lift very heavy items. And it's also a problem, especially for a woman, when it comes to that. So I would tell someone to give birth normally. And also, taking care of your health, both physically and emotionally. And especially, you may not be able even to take care of yourself physically as 100%, but emotionally, it is a good thing. Try to be well 100%. Mostly not, even if not for yourself, because of the baby. Because it will determine the baby that you are going to bring forth. That phase of stress made me lose a baby. Maybe a baby that should be 20 or 20 something now, if not 18. My last girl will be 17 next year. No, will be 18 next year. So that has difference of almost about 2 years. She'll be
around
19. She'll be around 19. So I usually tell myself, if I had taken care of those emotional problems, Melody would not have suffered the consequences. I would have taken care of myself well, make sure I forget all other things, take care of my health, so that I'll bring forth a very healthy baby. It is good to take care of oneself, for yourself, and for the baby. And I come to conclusion that when God told us, love your neighbor as you love yourself, you must first love yourself. First love is very important. You love yourself so that you can be able to love a neighbor. And by virtue of us being humans, you cannot give what you don't have.
True.
So you have to have love in order to share it. If you don't have love, you cannot love somebody.
You can't.
No, you can't. You cannot be able to.
Self-care is very important.
So self-care is very important. It is good to take care of oneself physically and psychologically.
True.
Take care of your minds so that whatever you give to that baby growing inside yourself, it will be something that will keep the life of that baby. It will determine the life that baby will live. My Melody would have lived if I had taken care of myself psychologically.
Okay.
So it
So
turned
there were
out
still some other things,
psychologically, that stress stress ends up affecting the bones. It is even spiritual. It is in the Bible. It is the book of Proverbs. Yeah. And a hurting heart dries up the bones. So when you are stressed, know that you are going to complicate your bones. Your bones will suffer. And that suffering of the bones is something which is a cycle. It is affecting many other things. The way God created us. When you have a problem with one organ of the body, it is a cycle. It goes and affects others. So you have to take care of yourself, whether it is psychologically or physically. They go both hand in hand. It is 50-50. They have to be 50-50. I'm well in mind and psychologically, I'm well in my physics. So take care of yourself, especially expectant mothers. Especially expectant mothers. Love yourself. When I loved myself first, in that third pregnancy, I took very good care of myself. I had to make sure I take veggies, I take a lot of fruits, a lot of water. I was so good. In fact, even after delivery, 3 months after my maternity leave, when I went back to work, we used to have company nurses, and I met one of them. They used to work with my mother. And she met me in the compound, and she said, wow. She used to call me by my mother's name, daughter of so and so. Hey, you are back. Hey, you're so beautiful. I told her I'm back. How was your maternity leave? It looks your husband has taken care of you. But there is something I want to tell you as a doctor now. In terms of a doctor, your weight and your height, they are not so good. Can you go and try and, now that you have breastfed the baby well, can you try and lose that weight? Because it might bring other medical complications. I'm short and I was plump. I could fit on a chair like this. I think I told you in the beginning, I could fit this chair and you could not put your finger through. So I was round. I was round. And medically they say when you are short and your weight is so big, you are not full, you're not complete. Blood pressure wise it's not good, and you can also the blood sugars may not go well with it. So you are told to lose weight so that you keep yourself fit. And well, because of tomorrow and the next day. Otherwise I would urge the medics, those who take care of pregnant women during those pre and postnatal clinics, through delivery. Take care of these great women. They bring forth greatness. They bring forth kings and queens. You don't know, you would be taking care of your great-grandson's wife or husband. So take care of them. And I would also want to urge those who take care of us, because I felt like if I had problems with the problem was, I have gone through problems which I'm now even taking care of them, even today, and my calcium levels have been going up and down, and when I came to realize that it is me who had the problem, it is because I went through a problem. Now when I recovered, my body was aching all over. And when I went to the hospital, I happened to go to the hospital several times, and I was so tired of hospital. I stayed at home, sleeping on the couch. I could not wash anything. I could not do anything. All my joints were aching all over the whole body. And one day my son came and told me, Mom, I've gotten some money. I want you to go to the hospital and tell the doctor to examine you very well, ujue shida yako ni gani, so that you'll know what is your problem. So where I went, and I met a very nice doctor, a lady, and I told her my story, and she wrote for me some tests. When I went for those tests, one of them was the calcium test. My calcium levels were negative. I've worked with that journey now. it brought in those complications. And I think that it is the same problem that affected Melody. It is with my two girls. They complain they cannot hold their hands like this for long. When they hold their hands like this, or they sleep on the hand, it goes numb.
Okay.
And the legs too. And sometimes you feel they cannot stand for long, their legs are aching because of those calcium issues. So I wondered, if I went for prenatal clinic, why wouldn't the doctors even know that I'm sick?
Sometimes they may be focusing on what is at hand. But what I would like to say is probably the issue now that you have realized it is in the family. It's good to seek more medical help.
More medical help, yeah.
Yeah, so, and because of our time, I would just say that it is important that you seek help, even for one, your emotional state.
Yes.
As you're working on it. And one thing that I'm happy about is because you have realized that you had an issue in between when you're expecting Melody. And then probably other complications now came about. And I think that is why it is very important for us to share these journeys so that a mother there, a family there can be able to, say, that is my journey. And if that is my journey, then what do I need to do?
Yes.
But before we come to a close of this this episode and this show, I want to say something. When God created us, He created us and also as mothers to deliver what He wants us to have. And the Deuteronomy for Christians that I am, Deuteronomy 28 says, the fruit of our womb is blessed. And He can decide which way that we are going to deliver that fruit of our womb. And as I shared in my own experience, my journey of delivery, for me, mine were cesarean, both of them.
Okay.
And for you, you had 2 cesareans and 3 normal deliveries.
Yes.
So whichever way God chooses that we deliver this gift, these babies,
Amen.
it is okay. For you, you're saying, comparing the two, the normal delivery probably is better.
Yeah.
And that is why I'm guessing the advice of let's get normal delivery.
Yes.
But there's some situations, like I shared mine, that a normal delivery would not be possible. It not be possible. So I'd like us to let our viewers know that whichever way God chooses, that this baby comes to the world, we accept. Because it is a way. He provides the two. I know. Luke in the Bible was a disciple of Jesus and was a doctor.
He was a doctor.
Was a physician.
Yeah.
So we can learn that it is not wrong for us to go through cesarean, just like the way I shared on my episode. Whichever way God decides to give us this gift, let's deliver it. And probably in 1 or 2 minutes, you just share your parting shot, one thing that you'd like us to carry away before we come to close of this meeting, of this episode.
Okay.
Yes.
I would say,
just look into the camera and just say something as a parting shot.
I would tell mothers, take care of yourself and the babies that you carry in your womb. It is good to take care of yourself very well, psychologically and physically. Even before you come to that EDD day, take care of yourself. If you feel like there are issues that are pressing down on you, seek help. Go to a friend, go to experts and share. But remember, that is a special time that you should take care of yourself and your baby. Take good care of yourself for tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well. Thank you so much, Jane, my namesake.
Thank you.
You've taken us through a journey. And I'm sure we've learned so much. We've learned so much. For me, I have 2 babies. You have had 5 babies.
5, yeah.
Yeah. And the experiences are different. And that is why, as I shared, I said, I'm taking us through this series of delivery experiences so that we can be of help to somebody else. We can also support somebody else in terms of the need. Like now, for your example, for the 4th baby, you had issues to do with your mental health. And as a psychologist, I would say this is a good way, like you have brought it out very well, so that other people can also see. If you realize that there's a difference between how you've been doing things and now at the current state, what you're doing things, you need to go out for help. And also the people around us, it is also important for them to, if they notice a change, let them help. You know, seek help for you, give you feedback in love, so that you can be able to have a healthy life. Because that is all what we want to have. And I want to thank you so much.
Thank you so
for
much.
For this. And I believe it will be a world of experience and a world of information for those that are watching us. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you feel like coming back, if you feel there's something else you want to have, I'm ready to host you.
Okay.
And so thank you so much. God bless you.
Amen.
God bless you.
Amen.
And continue with that spirit of helping other people and reaching out to other people.
Amen. Thank you so much. I'm honored. I'm greatly honored. Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Amen.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
Karibu sana. My viewer, it was a journey with Njeri. And I'm sure you've learned something. You're going to share this video. You are going to share with your friends, with mothers, with young people that are planning to have babies, that are in the families, that are planning to get into this journey of pregnancy and delivery. As I said, I decided to have this series of delivery experiences so that we can learn from one another. A mother there would not go through what Jane went through in the fourth child or the 4th pregnancy. And as we listened to her, we were hearing her say, if I did not go through what I went through, probably I would not have lost Melody. But probably you are there. You're in your 1st trimester. You're in your 2nd trimester. You're in your 3rd trimester. And you're struggling with a lot of mental health issues. You may not realize it, but allow yourself to notice the change that is coming in you so that you can continue with the journey. And if you need help, you can be able to seek help. And I would also talk to those that are around us, our family members. If we notice something, let us help and support these mothers, these expectant mothers. They are carrying a gift, a very precious gift. Let's support them in whichever way that we can be able to do. I'm also looking at a time where I'm going to have fathers coming to tell us how else can they be even able to support these the mothers or the wives, and also what is their experience. If you're out there, you're a father, you have had deliveries as a family, I'm calling out on you. Come, text us on 0114 404 200. I'll be glad to invite you to come and share your experience. I've already gotten 2 fathers who will be coming, and you'll see them. And if there are others out there, come and you'll be able to work together. The other thing that I'm going to do on this series, I'm going to have a pediatrician that is going to come in here and talk about, after delivery, the baby care. How are we going to take care of these very precious gifts that we are having? And the other professional that I'm going to invite is a gynecologist. We have an in-house one that will be coming, and she's going to share with us how can we take care of ourselves when we are expecting these children, and so that the outcomes are probably better than what we have had. And remember, every delivery is unique. It's special, and we need to carry it all the way. Well, perfectly, and with support. And I believe with support, through the antenatal clinics, through the support of the health providers, we'll be able to deliver a good outcome. I'm so honored to have hosted Jane today. And, it's like I listen and listen and listen and learn and learn and learn. As a mother myself, I am really getting quite a lot. As much as I'm not having the deadlines of 35 and then over. But I really thank God for this very good information. And thank you so much, Jean, once again. I can't thank you more. And my viewer, until next time, when we are having another guest talking about their delivery experiences and their journeys, God bless you. Stay healthy. Health Now Show with me, Jane Kariuki, which is your health friend. God bless you. Until next time. See you.